we're back from Huddle Up. Summer was off and we all had a nice vacation, but now we're back. And with me, as always, is Rob Clock and our guest today, Coach Mac. Coach, thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
Welcome, Mac.
All right, Coach. So, hey, I added a question at the very beginning. I don't know if you saw those questions I sent.
Yeah.
I just was going to ask you about the new coaches.
I'm really excited about what we've done with our coaching staff, and I will tell you one of the reasons why is because we've been in the office all week. Well, last week and this week, and just listening to not only Gallardi but Coach Long, Braden Long, the new quarterback wide receiver coach, in their offensive staff meetings and what they're going to do offensively and how they're going to be organized. It will be different. And it will be in a good way. You know, we're not going to make wholesale changes. We're not doing crazy stuff, but we are adjusting things to make it better. We're adjusting things to make it, as far as the communication part to where, it's not so jumbo. It's not so wordy. It's, and the packages fit together better. And so we're excited about that. But, Drew's taking this on very, he is working hard. He was in the office till 9 o'clock last night, getting stuff ready to go. And he's really done a good job, and he's taken the bull by the horns. He has a lot of good ideas, a lot of good concepts. And I would tell you, the advantage he has is that he was defensive coordinator. And I really believe defensive coaches make really good offensive coaches.
I think you're right.
At the end of the day, because you know what hurts you as a defensive guy, and you're just praying that the offense doesn't do it to you. He's going to do a really good job of marrying those two together. And then with Braden Long coming in, listen, that kid is way ahead of his years already. He's so technically sound on the quarterback play. He is very smart schematically. He's putting the passing game together, and he's putting it in bundles and things like that. So it's easier for our players. We got some new route concepts. So I really believe our guys are gonna really enjoy this. And I also think they're gonna become better football players. And I think they'll flourish on the field. So
Nice.
Mac, as a former coach, I appreciate you just saying that whole concept of simplifying things. We were always of the philosophy, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah. It's not a hard game, but for some reason, sometimes it becomes hard. And if you can simplify, I think that's great news. And I think if I was playing for you right now, I'd be excited because it's not so complicated. It does simplify things, and your teammates are on board too. So thank you. That makes me smile. Yeah, just from a coaching philosophy standpoint.
Well, and listen, sometimes coaches' egos get in the way, and it's okay. Just let's get the bases down. Let's do the simple things, and let's do them the right way. I've always said this: offensive coordinators, if they really wanted to, they can go down the field and throw 5-yard hitches almost all game. But it's not fancy enough for them.
Yeah.
And it's not. Yeah. So there's things that you can continue to do as a coach that would be successful. You just got to get your ego out of the way and say, "Hey, listen, I'm good taking 5 yards. I don't need 20 right now." Things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They're doing an outstanding job. They really are. I'm pumped up because I sit here in my office doing my stuff, and I can listen to them in the staff room talking, and they got a really good grasp of what's going on.
Excellent. So we're here, 2025, camp's about to start. So let's get rocking with one-on-one. What is the priority for you as a coach as you head into camp?
The biggest priority is getting everybody on the same page. And that's not only coaches, but that's players also. And really it comes down to this, Rob, is getting guys to care about each other, and have that support, and also have that little bit, I don't want to let you down mentality. And I think that's what we've been lacking for the last couple of years. We've worked really hard as a staff to try to get rid of me guys, and also to talk about, hey, me guys aren't successful. Only way we can be successful is if it's us and we're working together. And you got to celebrate your teammates. You got to hold your teammates accountable. And the communication process. Like, we need to communicate, and we need to care about each other, and come into camp. And if we can do that, you know, because you're going to work harder for your teammates if you care about your teammates.
Absolutely.
You're going to study more in your playbook if you care about your teammates, if you don't want to let them down. And that's the philosophy we got to get to. And, you know, it's very simple. You just got to care about each other. And but our guys have, again, the spring was good, and you'll probably have questions about that. But we've got a really good foundation.
Well, you know, and you know, Coach, like, how do you develop that we versus me? I know, like, you know, and this kind of goes into the next question too about what camp is like today versus what camp was like, you know, back in the day. You know, where when we were in camp, we were, you know, hitting 3 times a day. You know, we were just banging heads all day, and that's kind of how you formed that bond with your, you know, as a lineman. It was all the fellow linemen. You guys have a very different camp. Can you talk about what camp is like now, maybe, and versus the day when you played?
Well, go to the first part about the you, me, you know, being a me guy or being an us guy. I think we've learned the last couple of years, me guys don't win. So that is the example that we use. And until we change that culture and change, you know, that outlook, the results would be the same. So I think these guys got a good hold on that. As far as camp goes, you're exactly right, Fran. It's not football camp. It's football practice. And you know, and it hurts to have to do it sometimes, you know, just because I do think there's the grind and the grit and that part that we went through isn't there anymore. You know, we're allowed to do 3-hour practices once a day. We got to give them a day off every 7 days, within 7 days, a complete day off. No practice, no lifting, no physical activity. But the practice is it's just different, you know. Listen, now we're going to grind as much as we can grind, because I'm a big firm believer in that. I think if you don't grind together, then you can't develop that bond, because if everybody goes out there and just hangs out, then you don't. That pressure's not on you to perform. That pressure's not on you to finish that, you know, that drill or whatever it is. So we will test them in the beginning. I told these guys in the staff meeting yesterday, I said, it is going to be a hard camp, as hard as we can make it. And when I say that, I'm not talking about just running them for the sake of running them. I'm saying how we attack, as far as, you know, what our mentality is on the field, and how we are going to finish plays or finish this or do this, and how we're going to run from drill to drill. And we're throwing conditioning in all through practice.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not doing just conditioning after practice. We might have a SOD, what we call a SOD, which is situation of the day. So it might be, say, goal line is the situation of the day that day. So before our SOD period, we're going to condition them, and then we're going to come out and do goal. All right. So we're going to test them, you know, a little bit about whether they're in shape or with the heat or whatever it may be, to see how they respond. Because on Saturdays, you know, that game is going on whether you respond or not. So we got to learn how to respond in the heat of the battle. And also we got to be in shape. You know, one of the things I try to pride ourselves on here is that we will out shape people. Like, we're going to be in better shape than everybody else. And in the fourth quarter, it's going to pay off.
Yeah, because I know, you know, just from back in the day, and I'm sure you experienced the same thing, and we've talked to guys about this, that, you know, that iron sharpens iron kind of thing. And, you know, when you're going against a great defense every day, you're going to become a better offense, you know, and that kind of thing. And when you're going in shells or just helmets, you know, it's hard to do that. It's really hard to get that feel.
Well, it's funny, we're going over, like, and again, the way I am, like, I'll have every practice already planned out and finished before we start preseason team. Just because that's what we do. Because we have enough to do during camp that we don't have to be sitting down trying to figure out practice schedules. Now, can we tweak them and things like that? We'll do that. But we have the shell of every practice already done, ready to go. But we're going through that, and it is the situation where you try to get them to where they understand that when they step on that field, it's time to go, and you know, they're just ready to go. And the thing is, we have so much time during the days, Fran. You know, we threw out 3-hour practice, and then we have the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So There is some merit to it, you know, more meeting times. We meet a lot. We not only offense, defense, but also special teams a lot. We lift every day almost, which is cool. So, and it brings some team bonding stuff into play. Back when we went through it, it was practice, eat, sleep, practice, eat, sleep,
Right.
you know,
Right.
I mean, that's what it was. And we throw a meeting in maybe once a day, but usually
Exactly.
a lot of meetings at
That's
all, at all. So
yeah.
it's changed quite a bit that, and then having the day off, you know, so different.
Yeah, I do think the game has evolved, and I know they're doing it for safety reasons, but I do think ball players have become much more cerebral when it comes to the game and just the film study and all that kind of stuff. But this next question, I personally really like this one just because we do get a chance to talk to our head coach, and I love picking your brain. So here it is. In your opinion, how did spring ball and summer workouts go for the team, and how do you work in the freshmen now that they report?
Yeah. Listen, I really liked what we did this spring. I think the players set a culture. They followed it. You know, we've been doing some things as a staff, like our accountability program. We call it the Buster program, which is, again, you know, if you're late or if you don't show up to something or you don't go to training or you don't go to your academic meetings, it's a buster. You're allowed 3 busters. After that, you're kicked off the team. And that has really set some culture to where these guys know that, listen, it's even for everybody. You know, the same would happen to Fran as the same would happen to starting quarterback Rob Funk. And so that has helped us a lot with that. But these guys set a great culture. And believe it or not, we didn't have very many busters in the spring. They did a great job. But they attacked it in the spring. They got their football IQ grew, which is great. Coming into summertime, we've had a good turnout this summer of guys coming up here and lifting together and running together and throwing, doing some things like that. And that usually correlates into having a decent season throughout my experience being coach. So I'm proud of them for that. Trying to bring the freshmen into the mix, you know, and again, just going over the practice schedule, and you gotta be able to script each period, and so you got to know how many are like 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, you know, as far as how many plays each group's going to get. First 7, 8 practices, everybody's getting the same amount of reps. So we're going to find out who can play and who can't. And I tell all the redshirt list, or not redshirt, all the freshmen, I tell them, listen, we're not here to redshirt anything. If you're able to play and you can show us you can play in the first week of camp, then you got an opportunity. So it's really on their plate to do it. So we don't just play 1s and 2s and then throw the 3s and 4s in every once in a while. Everybody gets the equal amount of reps in the beginning. And I think that helps a lot of ways that people know they can compete for positions.
Yeah.
And also, I think, especially the freshmen coming in, understand college football a little bit better. But again, when you come in and out of high school, you're like, yeah, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to do this, that. That stuff doesn't happen. It's a different game. And until they experience, you can't tell them any different. So
you got to experience it. That's true.
yeah.
We all had our eyes opened.
You know, there's not a freshman that comes in and says, well, I can't, you know, I can get on special teams. I can somehow get on that field, you know. It's a little harder than you think.
Hey, Coach, everybody always talks about the portal, and I know you mentioned the impact of the portal. Any impacts to you guys, or you know, from players coming in or players going out?
The portal, I think the portal will always impact us, and I'm not always saying in a negative way. It could be in a positive way. Here's what I have found out. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. All right, is that with the portal, guys are leaving. Some are leaving because they have no choice and because it's kind of like time for you to move on type of deal. All right. But there's also good players that are leaving. They get better opportunities. Division, you know, 1 double error, you know, the FCS stuff and all that stuff. And they're getting full rides and they're able to go other places. And again, I don't begrudge anybody for doing that. I understand the money is important and all that. But I do think the portal's taken loyalty away from it. Because again, as a coach, I spend I feel like we spend a lot of time developing guys, not only on the field, but off the field and putting time into with them. And then all of a sudden it's just, hey, we'll see you later type of deal. And that doesn't sit well with me because I would never do like I couldn't just at the end of the, at the end of a game say, okay, I'm just leaving, that type of I just and I couldn't imagine doing that as a player when I played here. Just because of the bonds and the friendships and which are so more important than a couple $1,000 in my opinion. Okay.
Right.
But it's hard to develop, at Shippensburg, I think you guys are aware of this, every 3 or 4 years we'd have a playoff team. And how was that happening? Because we were developing guys, we just were able to do that. And those days it's harder to do that now because when they do become successful, or at least they think they're successful, then they get on the portal and they're gone. Okay. Now, can the portal be good? Yeah. I find it's very tough sometimes to get a lot of successful guys out of the portal, and for a couple reasons. Number one is they're in the portal for a reason. Okay. And number two is that they're overpriced, way overpriced. These guys in the portal are getting crazy money that they shouldn't, believe me. They shouldn't be getting it. And but they do. So, but we've gotten some good transfers in here. I'm excited about some of the transfers. We're pretty selective anymore in what we do. I've not had great luck with transfers, so we really do our background checks on them and try to make sure we're getting the right guys. Because sometimes there's a lot of baggage comes with transfers. And also, you're trying to develop a culture within your program and bringing outside guys in. You got to make sure that they fit your culture and what you're trying to do, because it can tear a locker room apart.
I'm always amazed that when you hear some guys who are moving to different schools, like they've been to 2 or 3 or even 4 schools. Oh,
Yeah.
that's just crazy to me. I mean,
And NCAA doesn't want to make anybody ineligible anymore because
Yeah.
they're afraid of lawsuits. So
Yes, exactly.
these guys, whether it's academically, portal wise, whatever it may be, it's like they get waivers for anything anymore. It's just changed. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of accountability in it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so August 23rd is going to be the big scrimmage. We're hoping to get a lot of alumni back. How is that scrimmage going to play out? How do you see that? I know you have everything prepped schedule-wise, but it is a scrimmage. There's going to be some unpredictables. How's that look for you?
Well, usually what we do with it, first that Saturday is we also have picture day that in the morning, with individual picture, position group.
Every coach's favorite day.
Yeah. And team pictures. Yeah, exactly right. So we do that in the morning and then go to lunch, and then we'll come back for the practice scrimmage. But what we'll do is we'll come out and basically have like a pre-practice, some individual stuff, and then we're going to get going. And how we're going to start it is really just we're going to just throw the ball in and let's go play. And we'll organize it as far as who's 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s or whatever we got to do to make sure everybody gets reps. If situations don't present itself during the, just the regular scrimmage, if say we don't get the goal line or say short yardage, whatever it may be, we'll manufacture those situations. So we will put those guys in those situations at some point during that scrimmage. No different maybe than a little bit like the spring game, where we try to put some situations in there. 2-minute situation, we'll do that. We'll even do an overtime situation. I believe in, doing overtime, at least so guys understand what it's about and how, as far as what we want to be on defense first and how it works, and so I think all that's important. So if it does happen during the season, we're not deer in the headlights when it comes to just the way it works. So we'll try to get into all those different situations, maybe even the 4-minute situation where the offense trying to keep the ball, things like that, just so they understand it. We're going to have referees. There'll be refs there for it. So we'll try to get a lot of good work in that day.
I've been saying a lot of things, Coach, that hopefully are correct. I've told guys that alumni, if they want to come back that day, that they can hang out on the sideline
Oh my.
get close to the game. Which everybody talks about spring game and how much fun it is to be out there, on the field, and maybe the ability to be able to talk with some of the coaches after the game and things like that. Is that something that we can count on?
Yeah, Fran, listen, you guys are wide open for this program, whatever you, yeah, anytime, anytime. So, anything you guys want or need, we will do. We'll be there for you. Listen, I'll even give you guys headsets on that Saturday if you want them.
Now that's dangerous.
It's going to be a fundraiser though. All right. So
Who wants to buy a headset?
exactly. But yeah, sidelines, whatever, wherever you want to go, it's good. Now, we're not going to do it like we did the spring game where we have drills and stuff. It's going to be more of a scrimmage.
Yeah,
deal.
I think that's great. That's great.
Yeah. And we will have another scrimmage after that. The following Wednesday, we'll have another scrimmage, to where we'll have a better idea of ones and twos and get them some reps. But then we'll get the young guys a ton of reps during that scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What position groups do you think need to make the biggest leap forward from last year? I know the offensive line looked pretty solid in spring game, but where do you have hopes for like a lot of improvement?
Well, I'm going to do coach speak here, and I'm going to say every group. Listen, guys, and I'm always brutally honest. We finished at the end. We finished last, when it comes to stats, offense and defense last year. So there is nobody sitting here satisfied with anything they've done. And, that includes us as coaches. We got to do a hell of a lot better job than we've been doing. Not only for our sake and our players, but also for you guys too. But so I think every position group needs to get better. And I think I know our players understand that. We emphasize that a lot. We talk about it a lot, and not only get better, but the culture part of it's always there. I believe we are going to be better this year. I know we are. I'll put it out there. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that translates for wins and losses or anything like that.
Right.
But we will play better. That's a no doubt in my mind. So we got to get better we're going to have a lot of young guys playing.
Right.
That some guys that might have played some last year, might have played not at all last year, whatever, but we're still going to have some young guys playing. And so I'm excited about it. I really am. And you come back to our O-line, I think you guys saw a big difference in the O-line just this spring.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'll give a lot of credit to our players who are stepping up, and they've really gelled as a group. A couple years ago, they weren't very close. And if you have an offensive line group that isn't close, forget about it. I mean, it's the way it is. Mm-hmm. These guys have gelled and bonded, and Gallardi's done a good job with them.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Well, I like that this next question fell to me because being an ex-quarterback, but going to put you a little bit on the spot here. I know you can't give too many specifics, but what does the quarterback competition look like headed into camp?
Now, here's what I will tell you. It'll be open competition. All right. We have 6 quarterbacks coming in. Okay. And 2 returners. We only have 2 returners. We lost a quarterback from the spring who decided to transfer. All right. Who didn't go anywhere anyway. So we got Gunnels and we got McCucci. Now, McCucci couldn't practice in the spring because he hurt his knee last year in the Bloomsburg game. So we have Gunnels and him as far as, quote, returners. And then we have 4 freshmen coming in.
Wow.
And what I can say is it's going to be wide open. Now, does Gunnels and Vinny have, the upper hand because they've been here and sure. But I feel we got 4 really good freshmen coming in, really good. And Coach Long has watched them all, and he likes them as far as what he's seen, on their high school film. Coach has also spent some time with Gunnels and Cooch, as far as being here in the last couple of weeks and talking with them. So I'm really curious to see how it goes. And Gunnels has worked his butt off. Cooch has worked those 2 guys have really worked hard, and you can tell by looking at So we'll see. And the freshmen, like I said, they're going to come in, they're going to compete, and we'll see.
It's always
One of the
motivating
freshmen-
whenever, it's always motivating when there's only two guys ahead of you, and they're
Exactly right. Like if I was a freshman quarterback, this is what I'd want to come into.
yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
Because the two guys that have been here, maybe have played 3 or 4 games total.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of new.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would be scared about that, but I'm kind of excited about that because I think the competition part will make them all better.
Yeah.
And
Any,
and I think
go ahead.
and I think with Coach Long here being able to teach quarterback, to really break it down for them and listen, they know he just did it and they know he was successful, and I think they're going to listen and work very hard for that for Coach Long.
Cool. Any thoughts on Bowie State? I know it's a million miles away at this point, but
yeah. Well, listen, I don't have a lot of thoughts on them because I haven't sat there and watched a lot of film on them. And listen, from a team from last year to this year changes so much. We're not going to be the same team that Bowie's watching on film, just like Bowie's not going to be the same that we're watching on film. So we just, at this stage of the game, guys, I will tell you in this kind of way I'm going to approach it, we got to just worry about Shippensburg and who we are and what we do. We're going to game plan and do our best against other guys. But ultimately, it comes down to us playing hard, knowing what we're doing, and being smart football players.
Well, thanks a lot, Coach. Really appreciate you taking the time, stepping out of camp, and we're looking forward to maybe getting up there on August 23rd. Maybe you can give a shout out to the guys to rally the troops and get those alumni there for me.
No question. Just let's go. All right, let's come up and see the 2025 team. They're excited about you guys, and I think you'll appreciate all the hard work they've put in this summer, and you'll see it on the field.
All right, thanks a lot, Rob. Thanks, Coach. We'll see you.
Thank you. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks.
Good luck.